All right, time for another Zoom. Starting to get towards the business end of the year. Actually got our last coaching video today. Won't do any more after this week. We've got a couple of other things planned for upcoming Zoom meetings, but yeah, it's all starting to get pretty exciting, both locally and AFL. If you're a Crow supporter, of course. Um, Port supporters are sort of doing what we've been doing as Crow supporters the last few years. So anyway, 2017 burns in our memory as Crow supporters. So if you're a Crow supporter, don't get too cocky because anything can happen. All right, some milestones for this week. 50th game, Holly Robinson in the goal. She's been out the sample all year, but she's come back to umpire a 50th game this week. 100th game to Mark Hines and James Pascalis, both in the field. 200th game to Richard Williams in the field. Richard's obviously got plenty of games out of the sample and some AFL, but he's starting to clock up his milestones with LA Footy League, which is awesome. Unfortunately for Michael Raymond's 300th game this weekend, we haven't got Ray Chamberlain coming over as he requested, but he'll still have a big day. So well done to Mike. And the big one for this week is Mark Braunack doing his 700. So some pretty decent milestones this week. Well done to you all. We've got women's preliminary finals starting this Saturday in divisions 3, 4, and 5. So if you are appointed to those games, prelim finals need a ticket. So you need to come along to training and grab that so you don't have to pay to get in. I thought it might be worth having a bit of a discussion about injured players. We had obviously the incident in the Crows game where there was talk about Will Day, I think it was, coming off with cramp, which ended up being a stress fracture. So I think probably where people were pretty critical of play stopping there when they thought it was cramp, it's the umpires sort of been proven that it wasn't such a bad thing to do. But I guess just to give you some guidelines, it's and some knowledge behind the way our rules work, because every situation is going to be different. But there's no need to stop play every time you see an injured player or a player being attended to by a trainer. However, when the player and the trainer are near the play, obviously it makes sense to stop the game there. When it's clear that a stretcher is being called for, play obviously needs to be stopped in that situation. So we had a case on the weekend where play was stopped. The umpires did the right thing by in the situation. I guess one of the umpires has mainly done games without time on. So he was doing an A grade game where there is time on, and I guess his concern was time was ticking, and but he was keen to get things moving, whereas the player and the trainer were not in a rush because they were trying to attend to their injury. So we had a bit of a discussion about that. I think it's important that everyone realizes that when the umpire does stop play in that situation, the timekeepers in an A grade are going to be really mindful to stopping the clock. So no time's being wasted. But also know that in the league's rules and regulations in any game, so a B grade, a C grade, a women's game where you don't normally get time on, the rules do allow either club's timekeeper to stop the clock if there's an undue delay and the umpire stops or indicates time on. I guess that wasn't always the case, and there were cases in the past where a club or players milked the clock when it was close and they were in front, and they may have faked an injury to come off on a stretcher. I understand that happened. So the rules and regs have allowed time to be stopped. Now, that doesn't mean that the timekeeper will always stop the clock. They should be knowing should know that they're able to do that, but they don't always. And so I guess as long as we've indicated time on in that situation, and if either club's timekeeper doesn't stop the clock, that we've done nothing wrong. And I guess if a club who is behind doesn't have their timekeeper stop the clock in that situation, they have got no right to complain. It's because their timekeeper hasn't done what the rules allow them to do. So yeah, I guess just so you know, if you are stopping the play for an injury, that time should be stopped on the timekeeper's clock, and it will mean that you're not really you're not impacting the game. Does anyone want to ask any questions on that one? Because obviously there's a bit of discussion around AFL, and I think with finals coming up, it's really important that we're clear on what we're doing. I think if you want to stop the play, ideally you'd stop it when there's a mark or free kick. But obviously if the ball's rolling around near the player and the trainer and you can't see that there's going to be an obvious stoppage, you can stop the play and then ball it up once you're ready to go again. But ideally, if you can stop it when there's a mark or free kick, it means it allows the play to restart, in a fairly normal situation. Does anyone want to add to any of that stuff? I just thought it would be a good time to outline a few of the things there. All right. Rob Kane sent me an email about road closures this weekend, and so I'll include the links in the coaching notes. It's going to be on Marion Road, South Road, and Cross Road, fairly major road closures, and it will impact umpires getting to games if you go through that area. So, yeah, as I said, I'll put that in the coaching notes. Later on this week, I will email out another quiz, because we'll do that next Monday night. Might be something in there about injured players. Who knows? And Sam, that's why I mentioned I'll include that situation from the weekend from the AFL game that you wanted to talk about. We'll put a quiz question in there. Umpires Association membership, as I've mentioned more than once this year, if you're not an Umpires Association member, you will not be considered for a grand final. Being an Umpires Association member doesn't guarantee you a grand final by any means. We went through what it takes to be appointed to a grand final a couple of weeks ago. Was it last week? I can't remember now. But if you do not become an Umpires Association member, you won't be considered at all. So hopefully you'll get on board. Whether or not you're going to get a grand final, I think it's the right thing to do. So I will update that list with the coaching notes that get sent out. All right, that's all on my list of things to talk about. Does anyone got anything that they want to raise before we move on to the coaching video? No? I went to the Crows on Saturday night, and as I'm walking out in Adelaide, some of you will know me. There's a guy called Lucas that is involved with Flinders Park. I think he's often their match day official. He was out with the Eagles when I was out at Sandford. He's been, I think, a goal umpire over time. You'd know his face, I'm sure, if you've been around a while. As I was walking out, he always says good day, and he's a really friendly guy. Does a great job with Flinders Park. He said, "Oh, by the way, I really enjoy watching your Zoom meetings." And I was like, "You're kidding?" So, if you're watching, mate, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, appreciate the support. It's fantastic. So, yeah, I better say nice things about Flinders Park, eh? But anyway, all right, let's get on to the coaching video. Just bear with me. As I said, this is the last one for the year. And okay, we're all set. Mick Sammett. Not sure whether I've asked you recently, but we'll ask you again tonight.
Hey, Cole, how are you?
Yeah, good, mate. Have you had a chance to have a look at this?
Yeah, I have. Yep.
Excellent. All right. A couple of interesting ones here. Tell us what you think of the first one. All right. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I thought it was the right decision to start with a ball up, but then I think the guy come in and made that secondary contact, which didn't need to be done. So I think reversing it was the right decision.
Okay. So I'll agree with you on the decision that Chris made, the push coming in. It was overly aggressive, didn't need to do it. However, I reckon that could have been avoided if he paid a dangerous tackle free kick. I reckon there's enough force in that tackle to ground that you would err on the side of paying a free kick in that situation. And if you'd done that, you wouldn't have had that guy come in and push it. That's why he's pushed it. He's not happy with the tackle.
Yeah, no, good point. Yeah, so makes sense.
Yeah. So yes, it's not a card. It's not a super serious, dangerous tackle, but it's enough. He's taken him to ground with some force. And so I reckon if we jump in and pay a free kick there, we avoid the secondary thing. But if a player does want to take it into their own hands and do something like he did there, then absolutely a free kick should be paid. Thanks, mate. Mark Cosnan, you look like you're in the snow. Is your heater not working?
No, look, even worse, I've got an electric throw rug on.
Oh, bloody hell. You feel the cold there?
No, well, I've just got back from the vineyard. So
okay.
It was a lovely 5 degrees when I left it. So,
No, very good. Hey, you had a chance to have a look?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
All right. You've got an issue on here.
Which one's this one? I kind of trying to remember it. Okay, from my point of view, from remembering it, holding the ball because the guy was, I'm trying to remember it, was tackled just as he was bouncing the ball.
Correct.
And I paid one of those on the weekend.
Yep. So at the moment they bounce it and then they're tackled, it's an automatic hold on the ball. So correct. What would you do after that?
Oh, I don't remember that.
Okay.
Play it.
Yeah, here we go. It's a bit hard to see.
Yeah. So holding the ball. That's just a bit of. I mean, I know you don't want false bravado in it, but that's a bit of, as far as I'm concerned, a bit of a rough play. I would have said something to the boys. Don't do it again. Next time, I'll reverse it.
All right. I would want it reversed. It's stupid. Okay. He comes in. It is 100% false bravado. Why does he have to do it? Like he's just rubbing his face in it. Like he's got him holding the ball. Like he's got the free kick, and he's trying to belittle the guy by pushing him further. I don't think we should stand for it. Now, if you don't think it's that bad, I think it's bad enough just to reverse. I think it's bullshit. I think we just reverse it and get the message out. You don't need to do that. However, if you really don't want to reverse, remember you've always got that option there where you say, okay, I'm not going to reverse it, but I am going to hold up the play and I'm going to wait till all your teammates are manned up on until you start to, you got to make your point really strongly. So you hold it up and say, hey, I'm just waiting for all your teammates to be manned up on to prove the point. I know what you're doing next time. But it's done with enough vigor. It's so unnecessary. It's stuffing. Take no shit and just reverse it.
Yep.
All right.
Noted.
All right. Thanks, mate. Cody. Good to see your face.
Hi.
That looks like your bedroom, is it?
Yeah.
Mate, have you had a chance to have a look?
I have. I wasn't confident on this one. I was for the other two, but I'll give it a go.
Yeah, it probably doesn't quite get the full picture on this one, but I'll play it and you can, there's something here I'm trying to get out of this one, but have a crack.
All right.
All right. What do you reckon?
It's pretty tough. I had to review it a couple of times, but I probably in the moment I could have gone either way. I think it was touched. But if the mark was given, I would have got up to the player on the mark and pushed him back to the 9 meters straight away.
Yep. So 100% it's a 50-50 call. Yes, if you slow mow it, it does look like it's touched. However, I want you to go back before that. What I really put this on for was what happened before. And as I said, it doesn't quite capture it fully. But just have another look and see if you get what I'm talking about here. So remember, it's a boundary throwing.
All right.
So just remember, it's a boundary throwing there.
Oh, you would probably throw it up again. It was
Yeah.
5-10 meters away from him.
Yeah. Or is it, yeah. So a recall is what I'm saying. So what the point of this one here is, yes, we've got some very young boundary umpires. Sometimes you're working with club boundaries. You're going to get some pretty ordinary throw-ins at times. I don't want us going over the top and recalling every time that there's not perfect. But in this case here, it goes straight to one player and the other team is severely disadvantaged. So the time that you want to recall and get them to have another throw-in is when that happens. Thanks, mate. Did a good job. And so I guess if you do recall it and you take it back to the boundary umpire, they throw it in and it's another recall. At that point, you would say, okay, for the third one, I'm just going to grab it and throw it up, bring it in for the boundary, throw it up. You don't want to keep. And if you are having a boundary umpire that's just having all sorts of problems and can't get it right, continually, you would just revert to throwing it up. And, you'd want to be encouraging and supportive of that boundary and say, hey, look, we'll give you time to practice during the week or, tough conditions or whatever it is. So don't want to make them feel bad about it. But, at the end of the day, we're trying to make it a good contest for both teams. All right, let's get on. So, as I said, this is the last coaching video for the year. There's no specific topic. It's just highlighting some of our key messages for the whole year. And, a lot of these things that I'll go through here, things we've talked about on more than one occasion. So our key focus areas. First one, it's talking about good second control. It's a key to a good performance. In this case here, Stefan is using a tap for a switch in that case. So it's inside the 50-meter line. So he's not going to go in and go out. So it's a good tap. All the players have stopped. So he doesn't allow advantage. He makes it clear where the mark is 1 meter out, 1 meter back. Once he's happy, he goes back out. So perfect set kick control from Stefan. In this case here, it's out the full. It comes off his legs. I'm not quite sure whether there was marking interference or not there, but it's not really the point of this situation. It's more the set kick control we're looking at. So Matt does a good job to get over, take the player out of play. So he makes sure that the player is over the boundary line. And he's got his focus on that player with the ball the whole time. He's not in the way or where the player on the mark is. He runs in, and the moment the player goes over the boundary line, he calls play on. So he's got his eyes in the right spot the whole time, gets over, has a presence. For those out of bounds on the full or last possession, you need to get over there and be there for the set kick. Make sure it all goes right. And this one here, similarly, there's a mark inside the goal square. I think it's Nathan May here. I guess our lower grade umpires will tend to give directions from way back. Our top umpires will make the effort to get down and be right there to bring the player back. So that's what differentiates, the top umpires from the lower grade umpires. And they've got the fitness, often to be able to do that with no worries. Nathan's an extremely fit umpire, off doing marathons this year. Hopefully we get him back next year. But yeah, he can see he's right there to make that set kick function as it should. So making the effort to get down and bring the player back is good. One of our key messages is protect the ball player. So err on the side of the ball player. In this case here, tackle to go to the ground. It's quite an obvious sling. Greg pays that free kick, and all the players will be aware that it's not the way to tackle. Jason, in a really good position to see that. With the PSC player as a player land his back, so gets ruled with a free kick. Right towards the end of this close div 7 grand final, I think it's Rashi. It's a good side on position to be able to see that arm go over the shoulder. So all good ball player free kicks. So take no shit. Rashi again gets in there. There's a bit of a scuffle, comes out. There's a fair bit of holding and carry on. I reckon the first thing you see in that situation, you pay a free kick. You make it clear that the players need to focus on the footy. And if they're not focusing on the footy in that situation, it's the moment you see a free kick, you pay it. And get the play moving. So that breaks up the push and shove. In this case here, obvious high tackle, and then the players come in to demonstrate. The second half player is actually thrown out of the pack. Pat does really well to reverse that. Excellent, strong umpiring there, and gets the play moving. In this case here, there's some holding off the ball, so you just got to have that peripheral vision to make sure that the player who's going for the ball and is being held up can get the free kick if it's there. One thing I'm always hot on is penalising the player who's on the ground and then takes possession. In that case, they're making no effort to get out. We want them to tap it out or try and handball it out. In that case, they're just lying over it. So some fairly tough footy here in the Div 1 Grand Final. In the end, the Glenunga player is on the ground. He doesn't keep his feet. He takes possession, and Paul does the right thing and penalises him. So if they choose to not keep their feet or they don't keep their feet, we don't want them to grab it and cause the ball up. In this case here, it's just diving on the ball, really. And Matt gives him a chance. He just wants to sit on it and gets to hold the ball against him. So again, the players choose to not to keep their feet. We don't want them causing a ball up. So pay the obvious and blatant free kicks. We don't need to go looking for free kicks, but these ones are, your real obvious ones that you need to get. And most of our free kicks will be really clear if we're in the right position. Like if we don't get that, we're in trouble. But, obvious and blatant, you wait for those free kicks to blow your whistle. Don't go looking for the technical ones, the obvious and blatant ones. So this is a clear pro opportunity. Doesn't get a handball or kick. Obvious and blatant holding the ball. The player's very nice here and giving the ball back. Don't see that too often. And the final message, if they want to play footy, let them. So just some good passages of play here where there's no obvious free kicks. I think Travis McIntyre features there, throwing his head back, but the tackles no problem. And it's just nothing to pay there. It's good footy, and they're all focused on playing the ball. They're doing the right thing by the game, and it's right for us to let things go. And it can't always happen. We sometimes have to step in, but when it can, people will enjoy watching the game and letting the players just play. This is that Div 7 Grand Final where Joel and Rashi just picked their moments to pay free kicks when they were there, but a lot of the game was like this. It was just good, hard footy where they could let it go. And so the philosophies need to stay the same for every match, whatever grade and whatever time of year. And obviously, we're coming into finals. We don't need to change anything when we come to finals. We keep those messages in mind. And if we all think of those key messages and umpire to that, we'll be consistent as a group. All right. Any questions at all? Anything else anyone wants to raise before we wind up? Okay. Balesy's doing his 997th game this weekend, so we're not far off a big milestone. So look forward to celebrating that. All right. I'll get this email out shortly, and that's it for tonight.